Hello, folks. Welcome. We are so excited to speak with you today for our webinar on preparing for international student orientation. My name is Michael Wallace. I use he, him pronouns, and I serve as the Assistant Director of the First-Year Experience for residential colleges, which means that I coordinate the international student orientation. So wherever you're joining us from around the world, we're so thankful that you took the opportunity to join us today and to learn a little bit more about what it means to get prepared for international student orientation. We'll have folks logging on in the next couple of minutes, so we'll wait to get into the thick of our presentation. But here in Nashville, Tennessee, it is almost 80 degrees. It's 8 a.m. here, Central Time Zone, and we have just been so excited working and preparing to welcome our international students from all over the world. So if you are just joining us, we're going to get started in just a minute. Please note that this webinar will be recorded. So if you would like to reference this at a later time, or if you have family members or other guest members that aren't able to watch this webinar today, they can also refer back to this. It will be located at our vu.edu/class of 2027 website. So. All right, so we'll wait about another minute for folks to log on, and then we'll get started. Hi, everyone. Welcome. We are just having folks log on for those of you that are just joining us, and we'll get started in just a moment. All right, so I see a few more people have joined, so I'll reintroduce myself if you were here just a few minutes ago, and if you're just joining us, welcome. We're so happy to have you here today for our Preparing for International Student Orientation webinar. My name is Michael Wallace. I use he, him pronouns, and I serve as the Assistant Director of the First-Year Experience within residential colleges, which means that I also coordinate international student orientation. I'm here today with a couple of our student leaders as well for our iLEAD organization of international orientation leaders, and you'll be hearing from them a little bit later. But before that, we will talk more about just some logistics and what you can expect in terms of your arrival and the International Student Orientation Program itself. As a note, this webinar is being recorded. So you'll be able to reference this after we conclude today if you missed any information or you have a family member or someone who would also like to reference this webinar. So we will go ahead and get started for the sake of our time today with a reminder of our orientation dates. So you have been communicated through the university through your Vanderbilt email account, and you should have these dates already listed. I'm sure you all have already planned flights and arrivals around our program dates. So as a reminder, our international student move-in day is officially Wednesday, August 16th. From 8 a.m. Central Time to midnight. And so that time period is where we will be checking in folks into the International Student Orientation Program and also helping folks check into their residence halls. So that's really our big day where we'll have folks coming in, the majority of folks coming in and helping them get situated before we officially start our program that following Thursday. So on Thursday, August 6th, August 17th through Friday, August 18th is when our International Student Orientation Program is happening. On that Friday evening afterwards, that's when we'll launch our transfer student orientation. So if you are a transfer student who's also an international student, at the conclusion of our International Student Orientation Program, that's when you'll transition to participating in your transfer student orientation. If you're a first-year student who's also an international student, on Saturday, August 19th, on that afternoon, you'll transition into Common View orientation, which is our big orientation program for all of our first-year students, both domestic and international. And so the reason that we have these 3 different orientation programs is to really provide information for all 3 types of students. There's information that's very particular to you all as an international student who needs to maintain lawful visa status while you're here, transitioning to what academics is like in higher education, to set up your bank accounts and your phone accounts and to learn more about the nuances of being an international student here. And so that's why we have this program beginning for you all before transitioning into our transfer student program or our Common View orientation program. I think it's also helpful because you all get settled before the rest of our students come. And so with jet lag and with your lengthy travels, I think that can be really helpful for you to get situated earlier before school starts and before our other orientation programs begin. So let's talk about pre-arrival before coming to campus. If you have not already, we highly encourage and need you to submit your travel plans. And you can do this via the pre-arrival form. And that form, if you haven't completed it yet, it lives in the housing portal. So the same portal that you've used to submit your housing information, your for the year ahead is also where you'll find the pre-arrival form. And so this pre-arrival form contains information about your flight so that we know when you're arriving to campus. It contains a request for linens. If you need bedding as soon as you arrive, we can definitely provide that to you for purchase of $50. We just need to know if you're requesting that ahead of time so that we can have that linen ready for you for purchase. The pre-arrival form also allows you to indicate if you're bringing guests and the contact information for the guests that are arriving so that we can communicate to them the opportunities that exist within our program that are specific for your family or your parents or your guests that are coming. So there's a lot of details that we need from you in that pre-arrival form to make sure that we are as prepared as possible for your arrival. So the deadline for that pre-arrival form is July 15th. So that's this Saturday. So please submit that pre-arrival form if you have not already. After you submit your pre-arrival form, you'll be receiving instructions on moving into your residence in early August. So really between now and early August, you'll be receiving a lot of different communications from your international orientation leader, from housing, from us to really prepare for your arrival to campus. And so you'll be receiving specific instructions based off what you've indicated in your pre-arrival form. Please check your Vanderbilt email regularly. That is our primary way of communicating to you information. So please be monitoring that for any updates that are happening. And if you have any questions specifically regarding your housing for the year, please contact housing@vanderbilt.edu. So if there's an adjustment you're requesting, or if there's something you're confused about with the housing, the residence house that you're being assigned to, those questions, again, are directed to housing@vanderbilt.edu. So on Wednesday, August 16th, our International Student Move-In Day, we will be providing different ways of transitional support for you to get safely to campus. So we will have staff members located at the BNA International Airport for those of you that are coming through that airport. I know I see some of you that have already submitted your pre-arrival form are coming through Atlanta or some other nearby airports, and that's all good too. We will have staff specifically at our BNA Nashville International Airport though. So we'll have staff members on site during that Wednesday to greet you, to welcome you, and to help provide transportation for you to get from the airport to campus so that you can check into our program. We know that flights get delayed. We know that as much as we can plan to arrive at a specific time, that doesn't always happen. And so we do have on-call support. And so that phone number will be provided to you with your arrival instructions in early August. And that phone number will be listed for you. So if you arrive late in the evening, or say you're arriving at 1 a.m. Central Time Zone, we'll still be able to support you even though we're not on site at the Nashville airport. So you can call that number and I'll be answering the phone, or one of my staff members, and we'll be able to assist you if you have a question about transportation or how to get to campus, or if you have a need or a question, we're going to be available to assist you. And that's throughout the week. So say that your flight gets delayed and you're not getting until Thursday, and you're confused about something, or you need a transportation aid, we'll talk through what options we have available to you. On that Wednesday, August 16th, we'll also be having our International Student Orientation check-in. So that will be located in the Commons Center. That's where I am right now today. That's where my office is housed. The Commons Center is also on the Martha Rivers Ingram Commons, which is where your first year housing will be located if you're a first year student. And so the Commons Center will really be a central location for the 10 houses for you to check into the program. And when you check into your program, that's when you can receive access to your residence hall, so you can check into that afterwards. And you'll also receive linens if you are purchasing those and have indicated a need for those, as well as your schedule for the International Student Orientation Program and more information about the program ahead. We'll also have some Wednesday evening activities. So after you check in and get settled into your residence hall, we will have a dinner option for you. And we'll also have a social opportunity for you to mingle with other new international students, as well as our international orientation leaders. So typically we play games and have food and enjoy community before officially beginning our International Student Orientation Program on Thursday. So if you have any questions about what I just covered, or your arrival in general to campus for International Student Orientation, you can contact me and my team at commons@vanderbilt.edu, and we'll be able to respond. We'll also have opportunity towards the end of this webinar for questions that you have right now for those that are here with us today. So hopefully you can get those answered. But if you do have a question that comes to mind later, commons@vanderbilt.edu is going to be the best place for you to submit that question if it's in regards to your arrival for our International Student Orientation Program. Okay, so briefly, I wanted to talk about what happens during International Student Orientation. Again, that's on that Thursday, August 17th to our Friday, August 18th. So over the course of this 2-day program, you will be building community with other international students. So there's going to be opportunity for you to meet folks from a lot of other different countries. We usually have around 40 countries represented in our new first year class. So we're so excited for those of you that are coming from around the world. You'll also be able to participate in group discussions about being a student at Vanderbilt University. So these group discussions will be led by your international orientation leader. and you'll be assigned a group with 10 other new international students. And so they'll talk to you about academics, but also social life at Vanderbilt University. And this is a great opportunity for you to ask questions and to talk about what interests you in terms of if that's a minor that you're interested in maybe already picking up, or if that's a club that you're interested already in joining. And we know that you don't know that information yet, or you might not, and that's okay too, because this is really a great opportunity for you to explore more about what Vanderbilt offers and see what you might be interested in terms of your involvement in your academics. You'll also be able to learn much more about campus resources that are available to you as a student at Vanderbilt. So some of these campus resources will be very specific to you as an international student. I know our International Student and Scholar Services has been in contact with all of you regarding your visas. So they're a great sense of support for your visa information, as well as navigating life as an international student. That's a great resource, and they'll be available and participating in international student orientation so that you can get a lot more information about how to transition to participating in higher education and classrooms and culture as an international student in the United States. We'll also have several other offices that are available to talk about student involvement, to talk about the expectations with conduct and safety, to talk about language resources for you during your time as a student at Vanderbilt. You'll also have time to explore campus with your international orientation leader. So they'll walk you around campus and let you know where many of our buildings are located and help answer any questions that you have about where your classes might be, so that you can start identifying those locations before you actually start class the following week after orientation. And then we also have opportunity in the program for you to complete some transitional tasks, including setting up bank and phone accounts if you need an option for a US bank or a US phone account, and an option for you to gather supplies for the year ahead. So we'll have international orientation leaders on standby for you to purchase supplies online if you would like, but we'll also be providing transportation to Target for you to buy supplies in person if you need. All right, so at this time, I'm going to turn it over to our International Orientation Leader Executive Board, which we refer to as iLEAD. Mike?
Cool. Good morning, afternoon, evening to all of you. Thank you for joining us. We're super excited to have you this morning. I'm going to go ahead and start introducing myself. And then I'm going to invite Jessie to introduce herself afterwards. So my name is Mike, and I'm a rising senior. That's the iLEAD president this year as well. I'm in the College of Arts and Science, double majoring in chemistry and medicine, health, and society with a minor in German studies. A little fun fact about myself is that I have a sister who's 15 years older than me. So I have a niece who is 7 years old now. Pretty crazy for a 20-year-old. And one piece of advice that I'm also going to share right now with all of you as incoming international students is that to just have an open mind and be brave. There's going to be lots of things that are going to push you out of your comfort zone a little bit as you transition into your Vanderbilt life here in the US. And just, having that open mind is going to enable you to experience a lot of things that you may not necessarily have experienced in the past. And you're really going to enjoy those experiences as well. Jessie, would you like to introduce yourself?
Of course. Hi, everyone. My name is Jessie Wynn. I use pronouns she, hers. I'm the training chair of iLEAD. I am a third year at Vanderbilt, majoring in biochemistry and minoring in psychology. A fun fact about myself. I used to play archery for a couple of years in high school. And then as I come to college, I haven't had the opportunity to come back to it, but I do want to. So that's one fun fact about me. One piece of advice I'd like to give you guys is to not be afraid of making mistakes, and just to know that there will be awkward moments at first when you make new friends, and it's all right, and you're not alone if you feel like everything is overwhelming and it's scary to talk to new people, but just know that everyone is in this with you. So it's okay, and you'll be fine, and you'll have iLEAD with you to lead you along the way. Yeah.
Great. Thank you both for introducing yourself. And Mike, would you like to talk a little bit about who iLEAD is and what we do?
Yeah, of course. So as Jesse and I mentioned, we are both members of the executive board of iLEAD. iLEAD is the peer mentor organization of international orientation leaders, or IOLs, as we refer to them as. Every new student is assigned to an orientation group of about 10 students. Your international orientation leader will help you build community with your group, learn about Vanderbilt's resources and culture, and also support you in your transition into your Vanderbilt life. You can expect to be contacted by your IOL, or international orientation leader, in late July prior to arriving on campus, and then we'll start programming once you arrive.
Great. Thank you. So at this time, we will open up the webinar for questions that we have from our participants that are online with us. I saw a few questions already come into the chat, and so I can start with the few that I see. If you do have a question at this time, please feel free to use that Q&A feature to ask that question so that we can answer it. Our student leaders who just spoke also are happy to answer questions if you have more of a student perspective question that you'd like to ask. So I have a question here about arrival on August 15th and wondering how that looks as opposed to arrival on August 16th. So if you are arriving on August 15th or August 14th or sometime that's not August 16th on the actual International Student Move-In Day, please indicate that on the pre-arrival form so that we can follow up with you on specific instructions for how you'll check in and what that will look like for you. We won't have staff on site at the airport to assist you on a day that's not Wednesday, August 16th. So if you are arriving on that Monday or that Tuesday or even that Thursday, we won't have staff on site at the airport, but we still will have on-call support if you need to call us, and we still will have a transportation option for you if you would like to use that. So we have an arrangement with Lyft. It's a rideshare program that we use in partnership, Vanderbilt University and Lyft. And so that option is available if your student is arriving and would like a ride, a free code, then they have that option to get transported from the airport to campus. And again, there will be an on-call number. So if there's any questions about how that process works, I'm happy to answer those calls. And we'll also be sending more information about that option through the pre-arrival email. So please be looking for instructions. I will say in the pre-arrival form, there's an option for you to indicate if you would be needing or wanting to utilize Lyft as a free cost option to get from the airport to campus. So if that is the case, please indicate that on the form so that we can prepare. I have another question about linens and what linens include. So we do have a linen option available for purchase for $50. So if you would like to get those linens from us during your check-in, we can provide that to you. And those linens include a bath towel, a hand towel. They include a blanket. They include a pillow, and they include bed sheets for the bed and for the pillow. Mhm. I have a question about restrictions in terms of medicine or contacts to bring when entering the country. So I would have you view the BNA International Airport website for that. They do have different regulations in terms of what can be allowed in your transportation as you're flying into the United States, into Nashville specifically. So that's going to be your best option to see what restrictions you might have in terms of medication. So please be sure to I believe the website's flynashville.com. So please be sure to visit the Nashville International Airport webpage. All right, so what about how long are the days during international student orientation? So I can answer this in terms of logistics, and Jesse and Mike, if you have anything to add in terms of the experience on your end as a student, please feel free. But our international student orientation days are going to be packed. It is a lot of really important information that we feel will help you really be successful as a student. So you can prepare to be participating from about 8:30 in the morning. We begin with a optional breakfast, but we highly encourage you to eat breakfast. I know you're adjusting meal periods due to jet lag and things of that nature. And we do take in dietary accommodations into consideration so that we can provide a meal that accommodates your diet. But that begins at 8:30 a.m. and we run until about 9 p.m. With dinners and social activities after our programming content in the morning and afternoon. So you can expect from 8:30 in the morning to about 9 p.m. On Thursday and Friday to be busy with international student orientation, but there are breaks during that time. There are fun moments where you'll be with your student group. There are meal periods where meals are already provided for you. So it's not just you sitting in a chair the whole time listening to different folks give you information. Jesse or Mike, would you like to add anything about what the experience of international student orientation looks and feels like?
I definitely want to add that in the past there have been students that asked me if they could take a break from the orientations because they're tired and everything, and they asked me if it's really mandatory. Well, the orientation is mandatory for all international students, and we all as iLEAD and the staff members do understand that you would be very tired coming into orientations, being jet lags and homesick and everything. But I do want to emphasize that it is a great opportunity to make friends, and like Michael has been saying, aside from all the presentations and lectures that we will be giving you guys, there are many opportunities for you to mingle with people and icebreakers and social activities that creates the space for everyone to make friends and talk about their experiences to each other. I'd also like to add that my crew roommate and my very best friend I met through iLEAD, through international orientations. So yeah.
Yeah, and just to kind of acknowledge Jessie a little bit. She is going to be the training chair this year. So she's obviously working a lot with the IOLs. And I say that because I just want to make sure that you all know that you will be in great hands. All of our IOLs, all of our international orientation leaders are going to be super equipped. Thanks to Jessie, and then of course our staff members and other campus partners. But it's going to be a great program. They're going to come in with all the tools and information that they need to kind of transition you all as incoming students to this next chapter of your life. So it'll be a lot of fun. It'll be a lot of walking, kind of, participating in different sessions, listening to students talk. It's just a really great time, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it's a unique opportunity too, because we have all of our new international students in the same room, and that doesn't really happen again elsewhere in your career. You'll of course be in the same room as other members of your class, but in terms of all of our 200 plus international students in the same room, it's a pretty special time for you to really meet people that stick around past that 2-day orientation experience, like Jesse mentioned. And to really to be brave and to challenge yourself to meet other people and to talk to other people and take advantage of all the information and the campus partners that are there in the room, so that you can get all your questions answered and just start to feel more comfortable about being here at Vanderbilt. I have a question about when orientation ends and when do classes begin. And so our orientation for international students will end on that Friday, August 18th. And then they'll transition, international students will transition into their next orientation program, which is really an extended experience. So that's either transfer student orientation or our Common View orientation for our first year students. And so those two orientation programs will continue on after that Friday for all of our new students. And then class begins really that following week on Wednesday, August 23rd. And so our international student orientation is a few days before class begins. So you'll have a lot of time to settle in and to really relax a little bit before after our program ends and the other programs start beginning before our class actually start to kick off and get into the swing of things. We had a question about international students participating in first year move-in on August 19th. So there is a separate move-in for our domestic students. So we have an official international student move-in day on Wednesday, August 16th. And then we have a move-in day for our domestic students on Saturday, August 19th. And so our international students are already here by that Saturday, August 19th. And so oftentimes they'll see an influx of everyone else coming, all, 1,600 new folks coming in. And so that time can be, a little bit overwhelming because campus fills up even more. It's not just the 200 international students, it's really everyone else coming back. And so in terms of everyone coming for the first time, I should say, in terms of our new students. And so there will be orientation leaders around to check in with you all as international students, but that's an opportunity for you to relax on that Saturday morning, not worrying about having to move everything in since you've already done that. And so I would really encourage folks to rest, to really take some time for yourself, because that Saturday afternoon, you'll be jumping into a new orientation experience. And so I would really take that time for yourself.
Can I add a little something really quick
Yeah,
to that? So for my previous students in my orientation groups, I've always encouraged them to, of course, rest and relax. But it's also a great opportunity for them to for you all to start meeting people on your floor in your house. It's also a great opportunity since everybody else is still moving in, unpacking, doing all of the work that they need to do. It's also a good opportunity for you to, for example, speak to your faculty head of house, connect with them a little bit. Each first year house, each of the 10 houses is going to have a full-time professor that actually lives in that house with their family, pets, whatever they have with them. And so they're definitely going to be there on that move-in day on Saturday. And so while everybody else is still busy unpacking, you have the opportunity to go up to their place, apartment, connect with them. If they have kids, pets, whatever that might be. And then you're also, obviously welcome to connect with other people that are going to be around campus. We're all, as orientation leaders, participating in this move-in process as move crew, which is like one of the most exciting things. So you're going to see familiar faces from orientation. You're also going to, if you're a first-year student, you're also going to have the opportunity to connect with your VU Scepter before the official Common VU orientation begins, as they will be kind of going through all of the houses to meet the students that are in their groups. And so, yeah, it's just a really good opportunity to kind of meet different people and start establishing those initial relationships that you might have kind of throughout your time here at Vanderbilt.
Thanks, Mike. So I see a question about the bank account information and to please explain that more. And so we will have United States bank vendors and phone vendors on site on Wednesday evening of August 16th. And so once folks have checked into our program and have settled into their residence hall, we have a dinner option, some social activities, but also we'll have bank and phone vendors available if you'd like to set up an account on that Wednesday evening. So if you would like to set up an account at that time, that is an option that's available to you. We'll also have those vendors on Saturday of when the domestic student move-in day begins. And so they'll also be around on that Saturday if you have a delay with travel on Wednesday or not able to make that Wednesday evening. So that will also be an option to you. Of course, there's availability for you to, go off campus and contact those bank and phone vendors ahead of time or outside of our orientation program, but we just want to make sure that we're providing a convenient option for you as a part of our orientation program to set up those accounts if you would like to during that time.
There is some questions about thrift shops on campus to buy furnitures and goods from previous Vandy students. Well, I know that there is a thrift shop for clothing only 5 minutes away from main campus and 20 minutes walk from Commons, which is where the first year students are going to be living on. It's called Buffalo Exchange. Aside from that option, we also have student groupies that students usually go on to resell their furnitures and many other things. It's called Reuse Vandy. People usually sell everything on Reuse Vandy, and then there is also a separate groupie called Vandy Wardrobe that people specifically sells clothes on there. I'm sure once you get settled in on campus, people will start sharing the links to the GroupMe around. And if you need the links right now, I can search for it and then send it to Michael. And if you can email Michael directly and he can send the link to you.
Yeah, thanks, Jesse. If you want to, feel free to add those links into the chat during whenever you're able to do so. Your international orientation leader will be happy to also redistribute that information closer to time when you're with us here on campus. We have a question. Is the rent dorm insurance mandatory for international students? And the answer is yes, it is mandatory for all of our students. And so we can post more information in the chat. We'll add a link for you to look more into that. All right. I have a question about, are there orientation events also in the evening? Yes, we will have dinner periods in the evening time. So that's a great opportunity for students to meet with their orientation leader group and to be in community with each other and to further talk and to meet each other and build community over a meal. So we'll be providing those dinner options for folks on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday for our international student orientation participants. Those will also have those meals on breakfast, for breakfast and for lunch as well, in addition to plenty of snacks in between. So during our sessions, we have snack breaks and we have snacks available for folks. If folks are hungry, and we know it's a long day, so we make sure to provide plenty of food for folks. And so I will say there's also a time built into the schedule for Friday afternoon, for example. We'll end sessions around 3 o'clock, and then we'll start dinner around 6. And so there's hours in between for you to run errands and do some other things that you might be interested in doing. So there is some scheduled breaks in between. So if you need to get with your family members or your guest members, there's some opportunity to do that. But again, there's some structured mandatory program content elsewhere in the schedule. So yeah, they will be. I see a question in the chat about being busy to meet the parents again. And so we do have in the schedule slots indicated where our parents and our families and our guest members are welcome to come. So we will have like an opening on Thursday, a welcome around 11 o'clock for the first official welcome for our international students and our family members. And so those will be remarks from our university leadership, and we'll be sending more information out about this. But that will be a time for you all to be together if you'd like to hear from our university leadership. And then we will be parting ways with our parents and our guests and family members and our students, since the students will be in a student group with their international orientation leader. But we do have a few additional things for parents and family members that we'll be following up with via email. So please encourage, if you are a family member on this webinar, please encourage your student to include as much information as possible in the pre-arrival form. That's how we're contacting and following up with our family and guest members via the emails that the students provide, but we'll also be providing that information during the check-in. So we'll make sure that you don't miss anything in terms of opportunities that are available to you as a guest and family member to join us with our International Student Orientation Program. Specifically, we will have a parent and family reception. So that will take place on Thursday, August 17th. So that is slated for 11:45 a.m. till 1 p.m. So that's about an hour of time where we will specifically be gathering with our family members and some university leadership and campus departments will be there. And so they'll be available to answer some questions that you might have for how to support your student as a family member. There will also be information about resources that will be available to your student. We know that a lot of our support comes from parents and family members, and so we want to make sure that you all feel supported too by our program and by Vanderbilt University. And so we will again have a reception opportunity for our parent and family members on Thursday, August 17th from 11:45 a.m. till 1 p.m. So we'll have some light refreshments served during that time. And again, that will be an opportunity for you to hear from university leadership, to hear from our parent and family programs. We have a specific office dedicated to parent and family engagement. So they'll be there to talk about ways that you can continue to stay involved in your student's life. And then we'll also have other campus departments to answer questions that you might have about academics or social life for your student at Vanderbilt. And we'll be sending more information out about that reception between now and early August. All right. Okay. So if you continue to have questions, feel free to drop them in the chat, but we'll continue with a few reminders before we close out our time together today. Let's see here. There we go. So I wanted to mention our summer webinar series for our international students. So obviously the one right now is our Preparing for International Student Orientation webinar that's taking place today on July 12th. And previously we had a Welcome International Student webinar where Dean Grisolfi facilitated a welcome. And we heard from other campus departments. And so if you weren't available for that webinar, please note that all of our webinars are being recorded and you can refer back to them. So if you'd like to visit vu.edu/class of 2027, that's where you'll be able to see the webinar content if you missed the previous one or if you'd like to refer to this one. We also have an upcoming webinar for our international students on July 26th, same time as this webinar from 8 to 9 a.m. Central Time. And so that will be a meet and greet opportunity for students. And so our international orientation leaders, our iLEAD executive board, will be facilitating that webinar. It'll be mainly student facing. So you'll have an opportunity to ask questions to our student leaders about being an international student specifically, and then we'll have breakout room options for you all to meet other international students before you actually come to campus. So this is a really great opportunity if maybe you're a little bit nervous, or maybe you just want to talk to another new international student about their transition too. And so you can be in community even before our orientation begins. And so I highly encourage you all to attend the International Student Meet and Greet on July 26th from 8 to 9 a.m. And that is for our students specifically. We also have several webinars that our International Student and Scholar Services Office is hosting. And so you can find out more about those webinar listings through your email or through our welcome site, which is on the next slide. So a few reminders before we close out for today. I know I've said this maybe 3 times already, but we would really appreciate it if you could complete your pre-arrival form by July 15th in the housing portal. That's going to help us help you in terms of being able to really accommodate your travel needs and to send you the most accurate information based off your travel itinerary for arriving to campus. If you have any additional questions, please email commons@vanderbilt.edu as those questions relate to international student orientation or your arrival to our international student orientation program. And please continue to stay updated with communications. We send emails regularly through your Vanderbilt University email account, so please be checking those so that you can stay up to date on what you need to do and what information is available to you as a new incoming student. We also have a welcome website. And so this welcome website is a great resource for you to refer back to information that you might have missed. So there's even previous emails that have been sent. If you're finding that you're not sure, if you've read all of the emails that we've sent, you can refer to the communications on our welcome website page. And so that is vanderbilt.edu/welcome. And then again, follow us at Res Colleges on Instagram. This is a good place for you to discover information about campus through social media, for you to stay up to date about our orientation programs as we post content there leading up to the arrival dates for our students. So it's a really good option for you to stay informed through Instagram. So that's at Res Colleges. All right, so again, if you have any questions that come to mind after this webinar, please feel free to email us at commons@vanderbilt.edu and we'll continue to answer questions that way. We really appreciate you attending and participating in this webinar. We really hope that you found this useful and that you feel more prepared for your arrival and for your participation in International Student Orientation. And we can't wait to see you in just a little over a month. So we'll sign off. Take care, and we'll talk soon.